What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From The Bench Vols. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and welcome to our Wednesday edition of the show where we have a lot of football to talk about. I appreciate you guys for joining in to today's show. We're going to drop our June. We're going to have one right now and then one right before the season starts, but a record prediction and a season prediction for the Vols this upcoming year. Haven't got to have an intro like that in quite some time. Haven't seen you guys in like 3 weeks. A little life update, not too much of a life update, but since the last time you guys saw me, I've graduated high school. I've been in Europe for like 12, 13 days, almost 2 weeks. Had a bit of a time off. I leave for the Caribbean in 2 days, so very fortunate that I have the people around me and that I get to go on all these trips. I'm very grateful for all of that. But I've had an eventful summer to start the month of June. That's where I've been the last few weeks. But today we are going to get back on schedule as usual, like I said on the Instagram a few days ago. Make sure you guys follow the Instagram if you guys have not. It's just at From The Bench Vols. But let's just get right into it. Like I said, we are going to predict Tennessee's season today. And we will have another one closer to the season, but I felt like, it's a good time. We've been off for a little while. What's a better way to kick it right back off, getting back on schedule, than a very talked about topic and one that a lot of people can engage in and disagree with or agree with. And let's just get right into it. So obviously, first game of the year, the Vols head to Atlanta, play Syracuse. A game that, the Vols are supposed to win. This game reminds me a lot of NC State last year. Do I think it's going to be much more competitive than NC State was? Yes. But it's a solid ACC team that's supposed to be around that 8-4 to 9-3 range, especially in that weak ACC conference outside of really maybe Miami, but Clemson is a national title contender. But the ACC is very weak. Syracuse is a solid team, had a very good year last year with Kyle McCord at the helm. They've got a very good coach over there. They lost their best receiver in this offseason in Trevor Pena. Didn't want to pay him the money. I think he was asking for $2 million, and their coach just told him to take a hike. And that's kind of the landscape with where we're at in college football. I feel like that gets brought up once or twice a show. That's kind of where we're at in college football, and that's what seems everybody has been saying lately. But that is where we are at. But I do think Syracuse is a very good football team. One of the better ones that we're going to play this year. I think this is going to be a tough game. It's going to be Joey Aguilar's. I'm going to say Joey Aguilar in all these. I am very confident that Joey Aguilar will be the starting quarterback for the Vols over Jake Merklinger. So I could be totally wrong. That's why we're going to have another one closer to towards the start of the season. But all of these are going to be with Joey Aguilar at the helm. But it's Joey Aguilar's first game against or with Tennessee. And he's not getting a cakewalk like we've had the last few years, a Bowling Green, a Ball State. He's jumping right into Power 5 play compared to what he was doing at App State in the Sun Belt Conference. I'm going to take Tennessee in this one. I know that some people are going to have this game a lot closer than others. It's a noon kickoff in Atlanta. Like I said, the Aflac college football kickoff. I'm going to take the Vols, and I'm going to take them by a touchdown or two. I just think that our defense is too good. I think that we can get the run game established. I feel like Joey Aguilar is going to have a rough quarter or two to start. Maybe not have a dream start, but I think he's going to get settled in. And like I said, that run game is going to get going, and the Vols will end up winning that game. And then, ETSU at home, first home game of the year. I'm not going to talk too much about this one. It's ETSU. I've got the Vols rolling at home to make them 2-0. I'm going to start writing this down. Let's get a win column and then a loss column. 2-0 so far. And then your first big game, Joey Aguilar, you got to test. It's the Georgia Bulldogs coming to Neyland Stadium. And, off rip, I've not been one thing, if you're new to this, I'm not biased. I'm not a biased Tennessee fan. I will straight up say if I think Tennessee's going to lose. I did it last year during football season. I thought we would lose to Georgia. I thought we'd lose to Bama. And I almost predicted the Arkansas game, but I'm not that harsh. I am a little biased. But I'm not biased when it comes to this. And usually, I'd see Georgia and I'd just mark off an L. Or mark on an L, I guess you'd say. But this one, it feels a little different. It's Gunnar Stockton's first true road game in the SEC. Gunnar Stockton is a big question mark. Now, we can't act like Joey Aguilar is not a big question mark. There's a lot of question marks all over the SEC at that quarterback position. Alabama, Ty Simpson is an unknown. Keelan Russell's an unknown if he gets to play. Whoever gets that job, it's an unknown. Gunnar Stockton, yes, he's played a little bit, but, I mean, he played a good half of football to start, and then he just didn't play near as good as Georgia quarterbacks in the past. Now, he is going to be leaps and bounds, better than what he was then. That's a Georgia quarterback who is got weapons around him, who has an offseason of quarterback 1 reps, got more of the playbook down. It's another year in the system. Gunnar Stockton's going to be a lot better, and I think that he's almost getting underrated. Again, he's unknown, so I don't know how you'd really rate him, but a lot of people on social media or in the media are just saying, oh, he's not going to be any good, and he's going to get benched halfway through the year. I don't think that's the case. Do I think he's going to be as good as Georgia's quarterbacks have been in the past few years? Was Carson Beck the best last year? No, but he was good. He's getting paid X amount of $8 million, whatever it is, at Miami for a reason. And I know a lot of Tennessee fans aren't. I am very high on Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett was incredible for Georgia. I know that's very controversial. That's a conversation for another day. Stetson Bennett was very good at Georgia. So I don't think he's going to be as good as Georgia quarterbacks in the past. But the Vols are at home. You're 2-0 under a new quarterback. We've had a crazy offseason, one of the craziest situations, and it is the craziest situation since NIL has been a thing with all the Nico. We're not going to talk about that. But the fans are starting to rally around this kid. You just beat ETSU by 70, and you've got a rivalry game against a team that you have not been able to beat in the last few years. I'm going to take Tennessee. I know it's probably crazy. Is it going to happen? Maybe not. But I've got confidence in the run game getting established. I've got confidence in that defense getting some stops and forcing Gunnar Stockton into some bad plays, some bad throws, some bad decisions. And I just think, man, it's Gunnar Stockton's first true road game in the SEC. What's a better one to start with than Neyland Stadium? The best environment in college football. Argue with the wall about that. I know most people who are watching this would agree with that. I don't care about LSU. I don't care about Clemson, Kyle Field, whatever you want to say. Tennessee's the best environment in college football. And I don't think Gunnar Stockton can handle it in his first start on the road in the SEC. Give me the Vols. Start the season 3-0, and then, you got UAB at home. You're 4-0, baby. And you're probably a top 10 ranked team. You are a top 10 ranked team in the country at this point. And the fan base is so around you that it's not even funny. They are about ready to build a Joey Aguilar statue, and everything that just happened in the last, 6 months with all the craziness is just forgotten about. And Nico's somewhere 2-2 at UCLA. And then you go to Starkville. It's your first away game of the year, true away game, not in Atlanta, not a neutral site, but you're at Starkville. You're at Mississippi State. Another one, not even going to talk about it too much, man. We saw what we did to Mississippi State last year, and in my opinion, Michael Van Buren, who is now at the backup at LSU, is better than Blake Shapen in what they have now. They lost a lot of their playmakers. Kevin Coleman, really good receivers. Not really good, but, really good. Mississippi State was just not very good last year. Had some great playmakers out on the outside. They're gone. I just don't see a way that Mississippi State, even with the home field advantage, can muster up a win against this Tennessee team. Even if Joey Aguilar has a bad game, I just think that our defense is too good. The run game will get going, and there's not much you can do about it. The Vols are 5-0. And then you got – I'm going to sound like a biased right here because I'm just going to keep just banging off wins. But you've got Arkansas coming to your place. It's a revenge game. Taylon Green is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the country this year. Not in the country, sorry. In the SEC, which, kind of makes you one of the better quarterbacks in the country. I'm very high on Taylon Green. I think another year in this Arkansas system is going to make him better. Not a knock on Arkansas. This is not a game that's easy, just like it wasn't last year. Now, last year you were playing at 7:30 at their place, a hostile environment. Now this one's going to mean something to this Tennessee team, and it's going to mean something to these fans. And this is going to be a 3:30 or a 7:30 kickoff. This one's going to mean a lot to this fan base. I think Neyland's going to be rocking. And the Vols are 6-0 going to Bryant-Denny. Bryant-Denny, I'll go ahead and just drop my prediction for this game now. It's a loss. You head to Alabama. I don't care who's playing quarterback. I don't care if Kalen DeBoer goes and starts taking snaps. You're 6-0. Something's got to give as a Tennessee fan. It's not that easy here. No matter how good it seems, you're going to run into a roadblock. Just like we were on top of the world a couple years ago with Hooker, get beat by Quaquillian at South Carolina. You're 6-0 and you're very happy with this. And a loss at Bryant-Denny is not a bad thing. It's a very good football team, a loaded roster, one of the best receivers in the country in Ryan Williams. But, we've got Jermon McCoy. Y'all know how I feel about Jermon McCoy. I'm not worried about that. But it's going to be a very tough game. Alabama, no matter who they have at the quarterback position, it's Alabama. They're going to have one of the most talented rosters in the country year in and year out. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. Jalen Milroe, in my opinion, I think Jalen Milroe is going to be a fine NFL player just because of the athlete that he is. Jalen Milroe was not good last year. We saw, especially against Tennessee, he was just not good last year. That's my opinion, and they were still a very competitive football team. Beat Georgia. Well, I guess they went 9-3. Had a disappointing end of the season against Michigan, but nonetheless, they were a very competitive football team. I think another year in Kalen DeBoer, another year with all these guys in the system. Ty Simpson, yes, he's an unknown, but again, another year in Kalen DeBoer's system. Ty Simpson, I think he's going to be an all-right quarterback, a Tennessee native. But regardless of who that quarterback is, I've got Alabama beating the Vols. It's a tough one to go, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can agree with that. We've seen Josh Heupel doesn't have a signature win on the road yet, and I don't think it starts here. It's time for Tennessee to take one on the chin. You're 6-1. You're headed to Kentucky. I'm not even going to talk about this crap, man. Kentucky is not a very good football team. They are, happy late Father's Day, our son, in the football landscape of thing, not basketball, I know. Even though we beat them in the Sweet 16 this year, but I think that you roll through Kentucky. I don't think this one's much of a task. There's going to be so many Tennessee fans up in Kentucky for that one. I think that'll be a night game, so kind of a good atmosphere. Kentucky's had a few good atmospheres when they played Georgia last year and almost beat them. It was a pretty good atmosphere. But I just don't see a world in which Kentucky can win one like that. Give me the Vols. The Vols are 7-1 at this point, and you head back home. And you've got John Mateer and Jaden Ott and one of the better defenses in the country in Oklahoma coming to Knoxville. Brent Venables and his squad. This is a tough one, man. John Mateer is arguably, he is in my opinion, the best quarterback in this transfer class. Coming from Washington State, Wazoo, a great runner, a great passer. Just has it all for a quarterback. He's got legs, got an arm. And Jaden Ott, man, coming from California out of this spring transfer portal cycle, there was definitely some tampering there. He entered and committed to Oklahoma the next day. But Jaden Ott was one of the best running backs in the country last year. Very explosive runner, north and south, great athlete. It's going to be hard to stop that 1-2 punch. Again, John Mateer's a great passer, but his legs are a problem. And Jaden Ott is going to be a problem too. I'm sorry, this is one that Tennessee's going to have to take on the chin. You're 7-2. I've got Oklahoma coming to Neyland Stadium and beating the Vols. I think I'm so high on Oklahoma this year, higher than most. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the SEC this year, which leads you to being one of the best teams in the country, a top 10 team in the country, top 10 team in the country in my opinion. I think John Mateer is going to be a problem. I'm going to have to go. Excuse me. I'm going to have to go with the Oklahoma Sooners coming to Neyland Stadium and knocking off the Vols. So then you're back at home, bounce back game, New Mexico State. Not even going to talk too much about that one. You're 8-2. And you've got the biggest game to date, in my opinion, the biggest game of the year at this point, or not at this point, in general, you head to the Swamp for your 11th game of the year. It's the biggest game of the year, and let me tell you why. You haven't won the Swamp in so long. There's one reason. Second reason is because of you win this, you're in the playoffs, in my opinion. You lose this, you're not. A 9-3 team is not getting in the playoffs. And that's just how it is. Especially with how good the SEC is. I'm going to tell you right now, not all these teams are going to go 9-3. Georgia, Oklahoma, Florida, Alabama, LSU, and there's 5. South Carolina. You can't go 9-3 with these 6 teams, and I'm probably missing some in your same conference. Texas, I didn't even think about arguably the best team in college football. That's 7 right there. It's just not. This is a make or break game. If you want to return to the college football playoffs, right where you were last year, hopefully it doesn't end the way it did last year. But if you want to go back to the college football playoffs, you have to go to the Swamp and win this game against arguably the most hyped up quarterback in a long, long time for the Florida Gators. But he is, outside of probably Arch Manning, even with Arch Manning, DJ Lagway is the most hyped up quarterback in the country this year, and for the right reasons. A huge guy. Did he struggle with turnovers last year? Yes, but he can sling it. Throws a beautiful deep ball. 6'4", great athlete, former number 1 quarterback in the country. DJ Lagway's a guy. DJ Lagway's also a problem. And I think Jaden Ball is going to be a very, very good running back for the Vols. For the Gators next year. I think they are going to be very good. And I think DJ Lagway will live up to be one. I think he's going to live up to the hype. I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And I'm sorry, it's 9-3 for me. Well, you're 8-3 at this point. Spoiler alert: I have us beating Vandy. It's 9-3, and it's just going to the Swamp. Josh Heupel is yet to have a signature win on the road, and I'm surely not taking it in the Swamp this late in the year. It's going to be a night game. That place is going to be on fire. I just can't see it, man. I can't see the Vols going to the Swamp and getting a big, much-needed win when we know the track record of Josh Heupel. This is not a Josh Heupel slander, by the way. The elephant in the room is that he doesn't have a big win on the road, and the Vols just historically struggle on the road since he's been the coach. I love Josh Heupel. I wouldn't even think about firing him if it was the last decision I had to make. I don't know if that makes any sense. Josh Heupel's the guy, but he doesn't have a signature win on the road. I just can't see us going to the Swamp and to Ben Griffey and getting a win. Give me the Florida Gators. And then you end the year at home with Vandy. Diego Pavia was on a podcast saying that Tennessee is going to the state of Tennessee is going to be run by Vanderbilt. That's just dumb. I think Diego Pavia, me personally, I know a lot of guys like to give him his flowers. I think he's the most overrated player in college football. Just not that good, in my opinion. Makes plays, a gritty guy, fun to watch, too. I mean, I don't like him, especially after what he said yesterday. But I just don't think he's that good. I think he can make some plays, extend some plays because of how hard he plays. Not that good of a quarterback, in my opinion. You're 9-3, and that probably leads you to the Citrus Bowl, the Cheez-It Bowl again, if you will, whatever it is. I don't see this team going to the playoffs. It's just a hard schedule, and the sad thing is it's one of the easier in the SEC. That's how loaded the SEC is this year. Just, I can't see the Vols going to the Swamp and getting a win. And, I don't see him going to Bryant-Denny. So there's 2 right there. And the Vols like to drop one every year. Let's be real. There's always a game that you think they could win and should win, and they drop it. My prediction is that it's going to be Oklahoma. I'm not saying that it's for sure going to be Oklahoma. It can be Oklahoma and then somebody else. But there's always one that they drop. That's just how it works in the state of college football and Tennessee, because they love just to PISS down their legs sometimes. But I've got 9-3. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. That's not bad, especially with all the drama. You had to go pick up a guy off the side of the road and trade with one of the worst teams in the Big Ten for a quarterback. Not a diss towards Joey Aguilar, but that's what you had to do. You thought you were going to stick with your guy, and all craziness breaks loose, and you end up with a guy who played in the Sun Belt last year, who you never in a million years would have thought would have been your quarterback this year. 9-3 is not bad at all, and I think this defense is going to still be a top 10 defense in the country this year. I think that this offense is still going to run the ball down people's throat. I think Deshaun Bishop and Peyton Lewis and Star Thomas are going to be one of the best running back tandems and groups and rooms, I guess you'd say, in the country. It's just, man, it's hard to see the Vols going to get their signature win on the road this year with where they've got to go. So that's my prediction. Again, we're going to have another one once there's more things set in stone. More guys are coming up as the for sure starters, and obviously that quarterback position, who the for sure starter is there. So we'll have another one a lot closer to the season. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to this episode of From the Bench Vols. I am so sorry that I've been gone for so long. Just trying to enjoy. Obviously, I love this channel more than anything. I love doing it, but I also don't want to come home from, a graduation party just to feel like I got to record this. I'm only graduating once, that kind of thing. I hope you guys can understand all of that. But we're going to be back on schedule starting today. I'll see you guys on Friday. I'll see you guys the Wednesday and Friday after that, and after that, and after that. On Friday, we've got Eric Kane of Locked On Vols joining the show, so make sure you guys are here for that one. I appreciate you guys for joining in, and go Vols.